So it's been a while since my last upload. For that matter, it's been a while since I could work on any of my projects at all. And I think a reason is in order. So about a week ago, my computer failed to post. This is the same computer I record and edit with, as well as look up data sheets and anything needed for my projects. So after spending an entire afternoon of testing, I had determined it was a video card. My trusted NVIDIA GT210 had failed. The fans seemed to work, but the chip was not. Now I know it isn't much of a card, but when I built this PC, it was on a pretty harsh budget. And I guess the video editing proved to be a little too much. So now I need a new card. Fine. NVIDIA has a GT1030 on the market, based off the new architecture. It costs a little bit more, but it's more powerful, and my budget is a little better right now. And most importantly, it is still only one expansion slot wide. Or so I thought. So I ran out to the Micro Center, bought one, got home, and crud. My case only has enough room for one slot in the front panel wiring. The cooling solution on the GT1030 is a slot and a half wide. So I need two slots. So back out the Micro Center, and after a lot of searching, I determined that every model of GT1030 I could find were a slot and a half wide for the cooling solution. Now that's false advertising, because the boxes all say one slot. But obviously the card is two. Okay, I'm going to have to find another solution. First, let's get the hardware out of the old case. Now this is a case from a manufacturer unknown that I spent all of about $5 on 2 years ago. It has served me well, and they still have a future as a media center build or even an instrumentation rig given the form factor. So first, we'll need to remove the optical drive and then the hard drive. And after unplugging the 24-pin and 4-pin connectors from the motherboard, I can remove the power supply unit. Then I remove the remaining cables in the motherboard and push the case to the side. So let's take a look at what I bought to supplement the rig. Obviously we have the 1030 with its generous cooling solution. I also got this plate to convert the SFX power supply to an ATX form factor. And the last thing I bought was a new case to complement the new parts and my needs. This Cooler Master case will do just fine. It still fits the form factor I'm looking for, and it brings my total bill to $141, or about half of what I spent on the build initially. Let's get this started. Now to open the new case, just like the old one, I remove the 3 thumb screws in the back and slide the cover off. This cover comes off a lot easier, probably because the case costs 6 times as much. I remove the PSU bracket, then install the I/O shield. Then I put in the optical drive, and this one has hardware-free clips, so I won't need these screws. Now it's time to put the motherboard in, and then install the hard drive. And then off camera, I'm going to pull out the motherboard because the hard drive won't go in with the motherboard in. Now I wire the front panel wiring, and a quick look at the manual online will reveal the pinouts. And luckily, this case has a USB 3.0, so I can use a header on the motherboard. And now for the PSU. The reason why I needed the bracket was because this case uses an ATX power supply. As stated before, my power supply is SFX. So using this bracket I bought, I will convert the PSU to fit. So first I will screw the PSU onto the bracket. I chose to keep the fan towards the punched holes for airflow, and then those punched holes will be going upward in the case. When I removed the PSU cradle from the case, I took note of the word top stamped on one side. So the holes of this bracket will go towards that, and then I will screw the bracket into place. Now I run the cables and plug them in, screw the PSU into the place, straighten the cables out, and close the case. We're done. Now that the system is done being rehoused, there are a couple of things I want to go over. First of all, if you look at the two cases side by side, the new one is a lot bigger. But that's had two benefits. First of all, the airflow in it is a lot better. My hardware has been running cooler, and I have the ability to grow into the case as I expand my hardware. The other benefit is, because this case is bigger, it has a bigger fan in the front. Here's the audio signature from the old case, and here's what the new case sounds like. Now that might sound terrible, but admittedly, I've grown deaf to both. Because as annoying as they might be, immediately behind where I work and where I record is a wall, and behind that is an AC unit. I have come to ignore those sounds when I'm working, and I don't even notice them until I start to edit the videos. And then the effect they've had on my sound is apparent. There's not really a point to this, because I'm not going to be relocating my area. So, yeah, I have a new case.